This guy who heads the House Judiciary Committee, his name is Bob Goodlatte, a Republican of Virginia. He apparently told Hollywood that he's trying very hard to push for a comprehensive immigration bill this year. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we point out repeatedly that Barack Obama is a liar and he is a serial liar. Can it not be said of the same with the Republicans in Congress on this issue? Did John Boehner not say that as long as Obama's president, we can't do this? Because Obama can't be trusted. Yet he sends out his chairman to Hollywood, who says the opposite. In fact, John Boehner himself said the opposite a week or so ago. Then they have this congressman from South Florida who said the opposite a week or so ago. And then we have this senator who was elected because of the Tea Party, who's obviously changed her colors on this, Kelly Ayotte of New Hampshire, who's always hanging around Beavis and Butthead, a.k.a. McCain and Lindsey Graham. And she's asked by a CNS reporter about immigration reform. Cut 5, Mr. Producer, go.
I wanted to ask you a quick question about immigration. Okay. Speaker Boehner has come out and said that immigration reform needs to be done this year.
Yeah.
This session, do you agree with that?
I'd like to see it done. I mean, I supported it. Obviously, I don't know whether it'll get done. It's in the Speaker's hands and members of the House, but I supported it in the Senate. I think it's important for the country and our economy.
You know, sad to say, and this has nothing to do with her genitalia. I just want to make that clear because, people are recording the show. What did he do? What did he say? I'm sorry to say this lady's quite dim-witted. And by the way, as are many men on Capitol Hill, in spite of their genitalia. When she says she wants to see it get done, what exactly is it? She wants to see what get done. Here's my suggestion, Ms. Ayotte. You go to the Senate floor, and you tell your fellow senators that they made a promise almost 10 years ago to build a fence and other obstacles, physical obstacles along the southern border, that the President of the United States has refused to do so, that Congress, as a result of Harry Reid in particular, has refused to fund it, and until that gets done, we're not discussing a damn thing. What is it that she wants to see get done? And what is it about this guy Goodlatte running off to Hollywood? And what is it about this McMorris Rogers or Rogers McMorris, whatever, running off to wherever Microsoft, talking to the head guy there, whisper, whisper, immigration whisper. What is it with these idiots? And that's what they are, particularly on this issue, which leads me to an excellent, excellent, excellent column. Maybe it's not a column, just a post, by Daniel Horowitz at Red State. As a matter of fact, it's so good I want to read you part of it. I hope you'll turn up the volume. This will be worth your time. Trust me. But wait a minute. I could be watching, no. I could be listening to, no. Besides, we all can walk and chew gum at the same time, so let's just put the volume up. Listen to this. He points out, over the past few weeks, political news outlets have been filled with articles beaming about the masterful strategy of the Republican establishment in crushing grassroots challenges. And you all should be concerned about it, because if they had succeeded in 1976 into 1980, there would never have been a Reagan revolution. So you should be concerned about it. They smugly celebrate the wily tactics of Senator Mitch McConnell, the Chamber of Commerce, and Crossroad, Rove's group, in counterattacking the Tea Party. But when you think past the initial headline of these liberal media outlets, and among others, you'll find there's nothing special, clever, or innovative about their strategy. It's quite simple. Members of the political class, which is comprised of the leaders in both parties, support unconstitutional policies, corporate welfare, amnesty for illegals, consistent debt ceiling increases, federal control of local functions, and anything else demanded by the dominant moneyed interests in Washington. In return, they receive unlimited campaign support in the form of direct contributions and independent expenditures that are carefully coordinated with their candidates through Mitch McConnell's network of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the National Republican Senatorial Committee, and Karl Rove. And ladies and gentlemen, this is no conspiracy theory. This was laid out in a piece today in the National Journal. And that's what Horowitz is responding to. He said, in comes a grassroots candidate from the country class, that is, to challenge the ruling class. Needless to say, Unless they are a billionaire, they struggle to collect small donations from patriotic citizens in order to develop a modicum of legitimacy and grow their name ID with the electorate. In fact, it's precisely because these candidates support principle over power that they have a difficult time raising money, at least anywhere near the scale of the political class. There's a clear inverse relationship between principled stances on the issues and raising money. The campaign finance inequality has been further exacerbated by the McCain-Soros campaign finance laws that place upstart candidates at a disadvantage. They lack a large network of donors, but might know of a handful of patriots who are willing to fully support the candidate, but they're hamstrung by caps on individual contributions. So challenging the political class both in open seats or Democrat seats and incumbent seats would be arduous enough if the only inherent problem was the money gap. But there are two more challenges for candidates who are not part of the ruling class who try to take them on. The defining of the candidate and ideological lines. Please listen to this because it underscores important points, I think. In most races with grassroots challengers, the incumbent enjoys ubiquitous name ID and has been fully defined in the eyes of the voters for years. As is often the case, the incumbent might have mediocre approval numbers, but given that he is a known quantity, there's no fear that he's a total lunatic. Now contrast that to most of the challengers who are starting out with zero name ID and are completely undefined in the minds of the voters. Again, most of these challengers lack the funds to ever pose a threat to the incumbent. But the minute they gain traction, the political class, that is, the rhinos, the Republican establishment, has unlimited funds to define this challenger with their professional hitmen opposition attacks. Let's be clear, some grassroots candidates are better than others. But there's no human being with an impressive background who doesn't have something in their lives that can be exaggerated or distorted and put into a massive TV buy. Remember, the first time most voters are hearing about a candidate is through the prism of the opposition research hits. And you know what they say about a first impression. That's how they can destroy someone out of the gate, with a dehumanization campaign. Even if they didn't have the funding advantage, it would still be difficult because of the gap in definition. The establishment can completely destroy upstart insurgent candidates because there's no pre-existing definition of that candidate in the minds of the voters. But we cannot destroy their candidates, rather merely hope to slowly knock them down a few points. Moreover, we focus on issues. They focus on opposition research and hits. Guess which one resonates more with voters? The opposition research and the hits. Ladies and gentlemen, where I sit, I even get people who should know better calling me. What about this guy? Did you see this in his background? What about that guy? Did you see? What about this Tea Party group and that Tea Party group? Information that is fed by opposition research types to the media, attacking our candidates, attacking our groups. And he says, McConnell and his lieutenants have learned how to pick the lock. Unlike moderate incumbents of the past like Dick Lugar, they've learned from the likes of John McCain and sadly, Orrin Hatch. In other words, they lie their way through the primary. Instead of running on support of the things that they actually favor, support of bailouts, support of amnesty, support of corporate welfare, support of debt ceiling increases, supporting the expansion of the federal government, jettisoning social issues, and claiming now to tweak Obamacare, things they support privately or even vote for. They use their superior firepower, their name ID, their funding, their staff, to portray themselves as rock-ribbed conservatives and paint their opponents as liberals. Ponder this thought for a moment. Political class candidates receive millions of dollars from big government interests precisely because of their support for liberal causes. Then they turn around and use that money to lie to you, the people, the voters, and sell themselves as the antithesis of the very sources who provide them with the funding. And then they paint their opponents as the epitome of the special interests. They're slimeballs, in other words. And the media cheers them on. And there are even some phony conservative columnists at the Washington Compost and other places that take all this stuff and run with it. And they're very excited and thrilled that sleazeball conduct by Republicans, establishment French Republicans, may be rewarded at the ballot box. They're thrilled by this. Well, I'm not.